journey and racing now from the pole position. Worthington leads up to turn one. Sid Moore dives on the inside and Tunks is through. Also is there Ruffy and Rush takes over fifth running. Moore runs deep on the outside. Heading off turn four for the first occasion and Tunks is the leader. Bob Tunks the leader. Ruffy in second and Rush takes over third. Rob Worthington relegated to fourth, Blacklaw and Tatnell the next one through. Heading off turn four onto the main straightaway is still Bob Tunks. And Rush hooks up and is corrected by Worthington, goes up and over. On turn one, Gary Rush looking up as they went into turn one. Drifted backwards to the outfield and was collected by Worthington. Action up on turn one. Crash crew and recovery units attending now. Rob Worthington up and over left, flying on its side on the high bank on turn one. Gary Rush already out of the Rush Automotive entry. Mark Freehill waving the all clear through, so Rob Worthington would appear at the stage as okay. A heavy dumping. Worthington out of the car now from car number 98. Two drivers involved. Gary Rush in the number 2 car and Rob Worthington in car number 98. Bent Airfall can usually give the impression that the car is damaged more than it physically is. So let's hope that Rob Worthington, although he went in pretty hard unfortunately in the 98 car, let's see if Worthington can get the car fired up for tonight's main event. But Worthington out of the car at the moment. Okay, cars lighting up again. Bob Tunks will be the final car to move away in car number 54. Now comes the green and racing away again. Bob Tunks up into turn one as the early race leader and Tatnell on the march. Takes the 5 car into second and roughly steers back on the inside of the 12 car to regain second. And Tatnell comes in deep on the inside through turns 3 and 4. Tunks the leader. There's a battle on now between Ruffy and Tatnell. Running out of turn 2. Blacklaw back in fourth, making the runners. Tunks again with the leadership. Out of turn 4 onto the main straightaway. And Ruffy now starting to haul in the leader, Tunks. Tatnell looking for more power as they run out of turn 2 down the back section. 1, 2 and 3. Tunks, Ruffy and Tatnell onto the main straightaway. Still no change in the 1, 2 and 3 readout. Bob Tunks. Ruffy attempting to close the gap as the left wiggle away and the sprint car back markers out the car and track side with the white flag now. Dying down, 1 left remaining. Final run around the circuit and Tunks still with the leadership roughly. Only 2 turns left to negotiate, closing the gap, but Tunks will win it. Bob Tunks first in car number 54. Takes the win from roughly in the 12 car. George Tatnell in third, fast finishing. Bob Blackwell was fourth to the wire. Yellow on display for the drivers trackside. All anxious to. 2 minutes has been placed on Gary Rush. Green and they're racing less Rush at the moment. Heading up into turn 1. Graham Donny in the 50 car. Neville Stevens goes out wide as Bruce White comes through. Stevens kicks on again, heading down the back section. Bruce White in third. Gary Winterbottom there on the outside is Rob Worthington. Worthington quickly in the stride of the 98 car and takes over third running. Further back in the pack, Blacklaw and Tatnell. Blacklaw on the outside and Tatnell on the inside takes the run through. And Blacklaw's gone bush and rejoins at the extreme tail of the field. Graham Donny the leader out of turn 4. Chases. Worthington now goes up the second running. Graham Donny is still the leader, ushering up the high line on turn 4. again. Tatnell and Donny and Tunks comes through now. Tunks joins the main three contenders and Worthington goes off the circuit. Worthington off the circuit and Tatnell inherits the lead. Bob Tunks now moves up to second and Graham Donny regains third running. Tatnell moving up now to the tail end cars in the pack. 1, 2 and 3, Tatnell, Tunks and Donny still in third. Johnny Walsh takes over fourth running. Kev Worthington holding down 5 and Steve Brazier on the high line in position 6. 10 laps completed and 5 left remaining for George Tatnell. Out of turn 4 onto the main straightaway. Leading tonight's sprint car main event in the Winfield, the number 5 car is George Tatnell. Bob Tunks in second and Graham Donny holding on for third. Back in the pits. Graham Donny fighting hard to hold down third in advance of Johnny Walsh with the white flag coming up. Next time round to George Tatnell. Johnny Walsh in the inside of Graham Donny and the white flag out now for George Tatnell. Less than 1 lap left to travel. Tatnell the leader. In second and Johnny Walsh in third. Final run out of turn 4. On comes the black and white and George Tatnell takes round 8 of the series. Bob Tunks second. And running up into third. Johnny Walsh third and Blackwell now finishing fourth.
Okay, Johnny Walsh just grabbing third position there. From the fast finishing Blackwell, who had just nipped Graham Donny, who had slowed at the finish. Unlucky there for Graham Donny, who had battled quite well all night long to be running up the front and in third position, only to drop back right at the finish. Bad luck for certainly Graham Donny.
Racing in the back markers. First up into turn 1 is Terry Becker. On the outside is Sid Moore. Bob Tunks quickly into stride. Also is Rutley and Tatnell making the run through from the back of the Winfield car. Tatnell in the first lap is up into 4 from the rear of the pack. Right behind now is Gary Rush as they run out of turn 4. 1 lap down as they make the run out of turn 2. Becker still the race leader. Sid Moore comes in again on the inside and Tatnell's in second. And Morgan and Tatnell to hurry up, but Moore goes around. Sid Moore goes around but straightens up 50 cars all over the circuit. Becker's still the leader, but Gary Rush has got through, and Gary Rush is the new leader. Gary Rush in the number 2 car, taking it up onto the cushion, running out of turn 4. Rush, Becker and Tatnell running 1, 2 and 3 in the Mitsubishi Sprintcar back markers. Rush untidy down the back section but gets it together again. Running off the high line on turn 4. Tatnell looking for the run on the inside of Becker. Terry Becker keeps the gas pedal wide open as they swing out of turn 2. But Tatnell takes it into second now, but Rush is still the leader. Rush, Tatnell and Becker now. Further back to the number 12 car, Rob Rutley. Followed up by Sid Moore, Steve Brazier, Blackwell, and the power of all is Tunks. Gary Rush again, hooking through turns 3 and 4. Wild bounces onto the main straightaway. Opens up the power of the Australia number 2 car and runs it out of 2 down the back section. Tatnell with every trick in the book attempting to haul in the car, Australian champion. out there, but the white flag's out for Gary Rush, looking to put points on the board. In the sprint car back markers, and Rob Rutley backs it into turn 1. With the final run out of turn 4. And the black and white coming out to Rush, and Tatnell is stopped over in the back. Rush takes the win in car number 2. I think we'll find Becker third and Sid Moore was Becker second, rather. Sid Moore took third across the wire. 15 laps, the Winfield Sprintcar Classic. Out of turn 4 in the hands of the starter. Out comes the green and racing. 15 laps the journey and running for Winfield. Heading into turn 1, Neville Stevens, the early race leader. Graham Donny slotted into second place. Big Savage in third. Kev Worthington making the run on the outside. Terry Becker's there also. Bob Tunks locked up tight, but Rush is on the high line. Gary Rush is on the high line around the outside and from the back of the pack. Gary Rush has taken over, fourth placing at the end of lap 1. One down and now 13 and a half laps left remaining. Neville Stevens the leader. Heading off turn 4, Graham Donny still running up in second and Gary Rush third. Rush hiking a wheel, running out of turn 2, but Rob Rutley puts it on its side after hooking up on turn 1, red lights up. Rob Rutley hooking up with the tail end of the field and putting the West End Wine Chevy number 12 on its side. On turn 1, the field ushered through. Turn 1, crash crew in attendance, recovery units already on the scene, returning the car to... Up once again, looking for the green. Out comes the green and racing. And again, Double Stevens kicks away, but it's Rush on the outside. Looking for the leaders, Rush in the 2-car. Graham Donny relegated to third. Stevens still the leader with Rush closing inside, heading down into turn 3. Across through 4 onto the main straightaway, and Stevens holding his own at the moment. Again, up through turns 1 and 2. Rush looks for the lead, heading out of that turn 2, heading down the back section. Terry Becker on the outfield, but regains at the back of the pack, but it's Rush for new leader. Rush off turn 4 onto the main straightaway. Yellow lights coming out now for Big Savage. Rush goes to the outside of the number 2 car and heads away out of turn 2, and it's Gary Rush going away now. Neville Stevens back in second. Graham Donny's third, taking the split of Steve Fraser. Fraser takes the split, heading out of turn 4 onto the main straightaway. And Graham Donny with a handful of troubles, but kept it in tight. Beautiful work from Graham Donny in car number 50, rejoined at the back of the pack. But going around, and it's Sid Moore doing a dance in the pits, but Sid Moore returns to the track at the extreme tail of the field. Gary Rush leading now by almost 1/4 of a lap over Stevens. In third and running on the high line is Steve Fraser. Bob Tunks in fourth, and Blackwell's got through to take over 5. Blackwell coming through from the back of the pack. But already the race leader Gary Rush under the main straightaway. Neville Stevens driving a tidy race. Holding down second, and also holding at bay Steve Fraser on the 58 car again. Down the back section, but Gary Rush is running away. 2 cars on the outfield, Terry Becker in the 55 car. Graham Donny in 50, Donny was out of it. About 5 laps left remaining now, and it's all Gary Rush. Rush showing the style. The current Australian champion in the number 2 car. The laps twiddling away in the Winfield Sprintcar Classic. Neville Stevens still holding down second. Fraser in third. Fraser looking for the way on the inside, and Blackwell there now in fourth. Neville Stevens using all the circuit as they run off second. Sid Moore goes off to the outfield, but rejoins and Brazier now with a last lap attempt. On Neville Stevens down the back section, but Rush will take the win. Gary Rush straight south to Winfield Sprintcar Classic. And Brazier comes through to second. Brazier second, Stevens third, Blackwell fourth. Picked them up, running out of turn four. Out comes the green and racing on the outside. It's Bob Tunks. Sid Moore up that tight, half hour around. Blackwell rides in the left of that. Back through the pack. It's Rush on the outside, running Hall from Sid Moore. Down through turns 3 and 4 over on the high line as Rush will get to the right field. Gets past Sid Moore now and lines up Bob Tunks. Four drives in deep, it's Gary Rush. Going with that way, right around the outside, and Rush goes to the lead. Accelerates down into turn 3. Bob Tunks on the inside. But Rush powers out of turn 4 and takes over the lead. Rush, Tunks and Moore running 1, 2 and 3, and now it's Brazier. Brazier coming out of the pack to take over third running. Heading out of turn 2, it's Rush. Tunks and Brazier running 1, 2 and 3 on the right side out. Last lap on the board now as they make the run out of turn 2, and it's Steve Brazier in third running. Sid Moore relegated in fourth. Blackwell is booked for the final run. Out of turn 4 and full go to Gary Rush. Forward boy Bob Tunks pushing it all the way. Steve Brazier and Blackwell 1, 2, 3, 4 times over the street. Hooks up the wheel on the main straightaway. The crash crew move right in now. Bob Blackwell in the New South Wales #1 car up in the Chevy Sprinter on the final run across the wire now. End to end, side to side. Bob Blackwell. Up out of turn 4, and Neville Stevens jumps away from the front row. Locked inside of the fabulous Spinners, swinging through Parramatta, turns 1 and 2, and Gary Rush coming through from the back to take over fourth running. Up on the high line, Braziers in there, battling on hard, takes it on the inside line. Stevens the early leader, Bob Tunks is forced out of the traffic to take the 54 car. Up in the second, Rush takes over third running. Back now to Graham Dolly in the 50 car, and Brazier hooking up tight out of turn 4 once again. So it's Stevens, Tunks and Rush already up to third running. Brazier takes over fourth as they straighten up the run out of turn 2 down the back section. Tunks goes to the lead on the run out of turn 4. Neville Stevens is fourth high, Rush on the inside. Gary Rush goes through on the inside, wheel to wheel with Bob Tunks down the back section, and Tunks grimly holding on to the lead as they run through turns 3 and 4. Tunks and Rush again through turns 1 and 2. Brazier back in third racing now and throwing out the challenge. Rush takes over the lead on the run down the back section out of third, and your race leader is Gary Rush. 5 laps down and 2 left remaining for Gary Rush. Tunks relegated to second. Holding down third is Steve Brazier. Rush, Tunks and Brazier running 1, 2 and 3 off turn 4. In advance of Neville Stevens as they chase the high line. Up through turn 4. Terry Becker from 5 now and Sid Moore the next one through. But it's all Gary Rush running up turn 4 onto the main straightaway. Already nearing the halfway mark of tonight's Sprintcar main event. The 1, 2 and 3 placings unchanged. Gary Rush, Bob Tunks and Steve Brazier. Storm and Steve runs out of turn 4. Already race leader Gary Rush moving up in close proximity with the tail enders of the field. Leader Rush hogging the wheel, jumping the laps. Through turns 1 and 2. Bob Tunks not making any further impression at this stage. The Tunks dives in deep on turn 3. Brazier, still there with 10 down now and 5 left remaining. 10 laps completed or less than 5 remaining for Gary Rush. All still within quarter of a lap of the 1, 2 and 3 placings. Brazier attempting to hold in second place at the moment, and that's Bobby Tunks. In the Burden Chemicals, Valvoline Chevy, but Gary Rush up front with a clean air on the #2 car. remains unchanged. Bob Tunks holding down second and Gray doing third. Final run through turn 3 and 4 onto the main straightaway and Rush takes the double. Gary Rush takes the double. Tunks in second and Gray to third.
So we're just going to check the time. Yes, we do find ourselves with a new track record holder for 15 laps. Gary Rush's time 3 minutes, 51.21 seconds, and that's just eclipsed George Tatnell's time of 3 minutes, 52.93 seconds. So a new track record to Gary Rush. Another consistent drive by Bobby Tunks to come home second. And third this week to Steve Brazier, who's also starting to hit the straps and come home a little bit better than he has earlier in the year.
The point score series from Winfield and Travel Air Tours, forming up into rows of 2, 15 laps of the journey, the distance confirmed and...
Cars lining up now for the South Pacific Sprintcar Classic. It's round 1, final on Monday night, Monday the 28th. So points, a big factor tonight, and they'll all be going for the points. Let's continue that noise as they one more time come off turn 4. Let's hear it for the clay charges.
Of taking back as they take the jump on the show on the green. Little Sid with the green and they move onto the main straightaway. Up comes the 1981, 82. South Pacific Sprintcar Classic and old Johnny Walsh around sideways but straightens up. All gets through safely. Devil Stevens is the early race leader. Graham Donny the next one through as they run out of turn 4 at the end of lap 1. Run down. Take over third. Tunks registers third and heads into second as they run down the back section. Through turns 3 and 4. Gary Rush on the move on the outside line. Devil Stevens goes high on turn 2 and Tunks goes through. Rush takes over third. Graham Donny in second. Britain the next one through and Blacklaw on the charge in full chase. Off on the outfield is Devil Stevens in car number 46. On come the amber lights and off go the tyres. Cars being brought round once again now, nose to tail. Graham Donny in his own compact Chevy with 3 down and 12 laps left remaining. 3 racing laps completed. 12 racing laps still to come your way in the 1981-82 South Pacific Sprintcar Classic. Bob Tunks calling the pace up front. Bob Tunks is selecting a slow run-up. And that's Tunks' option as the lead car. Right now Tunks jumps away. And they've given the green. They've given the green and they jump away. On the run-up lap, Gary Rush takes it through to take over second. Rush slow to start, runs up the 2-car in second. Blacklaw on the charge in third at the recommencement of racing. Graham Donny caught with a fence down on the high line and they all charge to the side. Rush the leader and it's Rush going around. Gary Rush going around as the track conditions come a little slick on the high line and Gary Rush drops the number 2 car. Okay, Rush a little anxious to take it through to the lead. Back in the hands of the starter now as we pick them up with about 11 laps on our reckoning left to travel. Bob Blacklaw goes down to turn 4 against the remainder of the action in field. Out comes the green and runs away. The 54 car Jerry Becker with his handful in second at the moment. Bob Rutley dives through into third from Graham Donny. On the outside is Sid Moore, Johnny Walsh there and Rush making the run from the redesignated backmark starting position. Tunks, Becker and Rutley running 1, 2 and 3, all drivers having a bunch of problems with the turns 1 and 2 at the moment. It's Sid Moore gets out to shake and gathers it again. Bob Tunks moving on. Gary Rush stalls through the pack to take over. Fourth running, Rush on the move. Dixon on the high line. Graham Donny still holding down his line. All the way around goes Terry Becker now. And it's collected by Graham Donny. Donny and Becker both over. The car disintegrating around Graham Donny. Midway between turns 1 and 2. Terry Becker hooked it up in the slip ride through to turn 1. Went out backwards as it was collected by Graham Donny, who was on the high line and making the charge with nowhere left to run. Of Graham Donny flipping the number 50 car over backwards, and the double 5 car of Terry Becker landing sideways midway between turns 1 and 2. Parts of the front end of Graham Donny's car disintegrating as he took the high ride up and over midway turns 1 and 2. Recovery units and crash crew, of course, quickly to the scene. Both drivers still in the race cars. Terry Becker put back on all fours. Selects the run line heading through turns 1 and 2. Takes it all the way to the brush. Blasts his way through into second. Moves up on the cushion on the outside of Bob Tunks as they run onto the main straight. In the number 2 car, Bob Tunks relegated back to second, holding down third. Bob Ruffley in car number 12. Back then to Sid Moore, Johnny Walsh, Dick Lee, and Kev Worthington. Scott at the rear of the field as Rush makes the run off turn 4 with 5 laps remaining. 10 racing laps completed and 5 laps remaining for Gary Rush. Bob Tunks and Rob Ruffley. South Pacific Sprintcar Classic. Rush moving through the late cars now. The style that has taken Gary Rush to 3 Australian Championships. And Rob Ruffley in third, the final set of the final stages of the event. Sid Moore in fourth running at the moment. Getting set for the show. The white flag for Gary Rush, white flag out this time around. 14 laps completed and less than 1 remaining count for the wire for Gary Rush. And Bob Tunks, Ruffley in third. The event just concluded. Don't forget Winfield still and travel here. Round 1 of the South Pacific Sprintcar Classic. In car number 2, Gary Rush first. Second to the wire in car number 54 was Bob Tunks, and third was Rob Ruffley. And Sprinter jumps away to the lead. On the inside, Johnny Walsh is tackled by Carl on the run through from the back. Running together with Sid Moore and Rob Worthington. Moore dives on the inside and climbs up and over Tatnell. 3-4 times over Sid Moore. Lost the 95 car into turn 3, but the track was being used at that stage by George Tatnell in the 5 car. And Sid Moore took a ride in the sky in car number 95. Put your hands together and encourage the drivers on their 25-lap journey. Let's make some noise, race fans, and wave those hats and programs. Wave anything. Let's hear it.
this time round they're forming up into 4 abreast, and they're going to be saluting you, the crowd. So I'll ask you to be upstanding on your feet and wave 4 abreast this time down the lane straight away. Cheer them on the journey.
Great spectacle, as we said, the mighty sprint cars going around the clayway. This'll be a ripper.
Okay, the Mantu Mirage of Chris Cummings moves to the infield now. The cars form back into rows of 2 for the starting order. And the message going through to Arthur Cowan, still 1 car in the pit enclosure.
Still a car to come, so the race...
Okay, given the green and racing now on the outside is Vic Savage, race leader. Going right off the circuit is the Queenslander Ray Value. And the horse on involved is Bob Kelly. Bob Kelly off the circuit on turn 1 on the first run-up under the green flag. Racing again for the Interstate Challenge of Champions. Up and over is Devil Stevens in car number 46. Putting it up on the run to turn 1, and again the amber caution lights are brought on. The crash crew racing across the circuit now to attend to Neville Stevens, who upended the car number 46, on the main straightaway on the run at the show of the green into turn 1. Quickly the car is righted on all 4s in the hands of the crash crew, and it looks like the all clear coming through for Neville Stevens, with the airfoil wing bent way down over the protective roll cage of the race car. And Neville Stevens, we can see moving around inside and undoing his safety harness. Bad luck for Neville, who had set such a blistering pace in the early heats in tonight's sprint car racing. And Neville Stevens in car number 46, it would appear at this stage, ending his race on the show of the green for the run-up to turn 1. Okay, who's stepping out of the race car now for all the fans down on turn 1. Shows some encouragement, please, for Neville Stevens. Vic Savage leads into turn 1 and the pressure on further back in the pack. On a wall of sprint cars, fight their way out of turn 2 for the first occasion. The Queenslander moving up as Ray Value in the second, but around goes... Oh, that race goes around. It looks like it's... Bob Worthington was collected in car number 98. And Worthington lays the car on its side and taking evasive action was Johnny Moore in 69. But going round was Johnny Walsh in the 92 car. Rob Worthington with nowhere left to run put the 98 car up and over on its side on turn 3. Also involved Johnny Moore, although I doubt if Johnny Moore touched. Moore just took evasive action and went to the outfield, and already they're backing off the car of Johnny Moore, the South Australian 69 car. They've righted the car of Rob Worthington. Racing again up into turn 1. And again, Vic Savage leads through that turn, and a wall of sprint cars sorting themselves out. On the run out of turn 2, down the back section, Billy in second. Bill Burrows quick to move, his centre pack at the moment. Graham Donny in the sea of cars, and direct George Tatnell. Clipping Sid Moore, and also on the main straightaway Bob Kelly climbing up and over the top, also of Bruce White in the 96 car, and I think Van Silver also involved when 3 cars touched on the main straightaway, but lying on its side. Over on turn 3 was George Tatnell after coming together with Sid Moore over in that section of the circuit. Crash crew again quickly into attendance. Parramatta City Raceway certainly losing a couple of pounds in weight tonight. George Tatnell is out of the Winfield car. Vic Savage leads again as they sort themselves out further back. Bill Burrows hooks it up sideways. Gary Rush goes for a run around the cushion, and Rush takes it up to that position 5 or 6 on the first run. Through turn, but around goes Savage. Oh, narrowly escaped on the run through. Turn 4, out comes the green and racing again into turn 1. Heading through that turn is the Queenslander, Ray Value. Swings out of turn 2. This time they get out of turn 2, heading down the back section. Fighting his way through, Blackwell on the inside, Rushes on the high line. Up on the cushion, Value, the Queenslander, the leader, as they swing out of 4 this time. One down. And 19 laps left remaining now with Kev Worthington taking over second running, Van Settle in third, Blackwell in fourth, and the Queenslander, Bob Kelly, followed through now by Graham Donny and Gary Rush as they swing off 4 onto the main straightaway. Tatnell's in there also, but further back at this stage in the 5 car on the inside of Rush. Queenslander Value, still the race leader. No change further back, but it's Blackwell who comes from out of the pack to take over third. Sweeps to the outside now as Kev Worthington moves in to challenge the race leader. Ray Value from Queensland. Down the main straight they run. Value goes on the outside line and Blackwell makes his wheel out of turn 2, but Value fights back down the back section. Further back in the pack now, Gary Rush has taken over second running with the Queenslander going to the outfield. Blackwell the leader, Rush in second, Bob Kelly third and Tatnell in fourth. Blackwell, Rush and Kelly running 1, 2 and 3. Tatnell in fourth, the next one through is Kev Worthington. On the high line, Sid Moore makes his way out of the pack to chase the race leaders. All up now on the cushion and chasing the traction on a vastly drying circuit at the moment. Kelly's still in third, no change further back to Tatnell. Race leader Blackwell off turn 4, down the main straight away as Rush looks for the way through. Best of the rest now is Rob Ruffy in the 12 car from Graham Donny and up and over. Huge up and over for the South Australian. Johnny Moyle hooking up on turn 4 and kissing Duck Creek and upending on the run off turn 4, got out of shape, hooked the run on the cushion out of turn 4 and inverted the 69 car, but Johnny Moore was quick to climb out. Picking up the plastic track covering on the trotting circuit as he upended the car on the run out of turn 4, but the luckless South Australian Johnny Moyle is out of the race car for the green, racing once again onto the main straight away as Blackwell. It's the turn 1 in advance of Rush and Tatnell's eyes on the inside. Tatnell looks for the lead. Rush now relegated to third on the run on the outside. Dives deep on 3, but Tatnell's going for broke as they run out of turn 4 and again. Rush back on the inside. Blackwell the leader. Rush regains second running. Tatnell back in third. Blackwell makes a high run out of turn 2 as Gary Rush puts a wheel on the inside as they battle for the position down through turn 3 and 4. Rush on the inside, Blackwell on the outside, and Rush takes the lead and Tatnell's spun. George Tatnell is spun on turn 4 and narrowly getting through now is Bill Barrows. So narrowly climbed through on the inside, but not a car touched George Tatnell, who attempted to keep the car motivated, but on second thoughts found it wise to shut the motor when the car started to head back into the pack. All clear. Out comes the green and Rush takes the lead on the run up to turn 1. Blackwell drifts high now as Bob Kelly fights hard behind the wheel of the Queensland 1 car to run up once again with the race leaders. Kelly sitting in third at the moment. Big Savage in fourth. Back then to Kev Worthington. Terry Becker's in there also involved with Sid Moore, Relive and Graham Donny. Tatnell making inroads to the field, but got a long haul ahead of him in the Winfield car from the back of the pack as Gary Rush now commences to unwind and set up a commanding lead over Blackwell. And Bob Kelly as George Tatnell spins again and goes on to the infield. Tatnell is out of the race with 10 laps left remaining. 10 laps left remaining and Terry Becker has big problems. Coughing sparks and flame out of the 55 car and reaches down to pull the car out of gear. Terry Becker in car number 55 preparing to leave the circuit. It's a 1, 2 and a 3 readout. Gary Rush leading in car number 2. jumping through the bumps on turn 3. In advance is Bob Blackwell, the Parramatta champion in the number 1 car. In advance of Queensland's number 1 driver, Bob Kelly, holding down third. Back into Vic Savage and Bill Barrows. Barrows attempting to find a way through on the inside of Vic Savage. 1, 2 and 3 unchanged now as race leader Gary Rush fights his way through the lap cars now. Beginning to lap cars is Gary Rush in car number 2. Followed up now by Bob Blackwell and a gap back to the Queenslander Bob Kelly. And Ian Sands now drops the number 3 car midway between turns 3 and 4. Ian Sands this time left facing the traffic as Kev Worthington takes the 49 car back to the finish. Up comes that green and racing away again with 7 laps left remaining for Rush. Up on the high line, followed by Blackwell now as Bob Kelly attempts to move on the inside as they swing out of turn 2, but settles back in third laps again. Bill Barrows moves in to apply the pressure to the Queenslander. The Queenslander and the South Australia fighting out for the minor placings at this stage. Rush attempting to unwind that number 2 car. Leading on turn 4, increasing that lead. Down the lane straight away over Blackwell. And now as Bill Barrows gets by on the inside of Bob Kelly. Kelly relegated to position 4. Slow, they come out of turn 2, but Rush already running off 4. Onto the lane straight away and the lads whizzing away in the interstate sprint car. Champion of Champions Challenge. New South Wales drivers running 1 and 2. Bill Barrows from South Australia, the next one through. Queenslander Bob Kelly in 4th. Remaining now for the Australian champion Gary Rush. In advance of Bob Blackwell and Bill Barrows. Halfway around then was Rob Rutley in the 12 car, but making the final run. Off turn 4 and yet another black and white victory for Gary Rush. Second to Blackwell and third will go to Bill Barrows from Bob Kelly from Queensland.
Well, another great victory to Gary Rush.